Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I thought of sharing with you people my reasons for why I have no plans of taking any of my children to a primary boarding school. And I'm not telling anyone to not take their child to primary boarding school. That's entirely up to you. But some of you may know that I went to boarding school in class 4. I was 9 years old, 9 or 10. I was 10 years old. And it was not a walk in the park for me. And because of the experiences that I had in the primary boarding school, it made me make a decision that none of my children will step foot into a primary boarding school. I must say that there were pros and cons for being taken to a boarding school. And I applaud my parents because of their reason for taking me to the primary boarding school. However, as much as it molded me into the woman I am today, it unfortunately left deep scars in me, which I'll be sharing with you today. Now, for those who don't know, I was an only child for 13 years. And of course, an only child comes with pampering and all the love on you. So when I was being taken to boarding school, I had never washed my own clothes. So when I got there, shock on me, I had to clean my clothes. Something I had not been taught how to do. And actually, for this reason, I decided that I will teach my children how to clean their clothes from an early age. Now, um, being taken to boarding school taught me different chores. It, it made me, it taught me how to be responsible because in the school I went to, washing your clothes was your task. Preparing the food we ate was our tasks. Cleaning every part of the school was our task. And waking up very early in the morning to go to church every morning was also our task. So that and a few other responsibilities molded me into the responsible woman I am today. However, it gave me a negative attitude towards boarding schools because it was not a walk in the park. It wasn't. And I'll not go deep into my experience, but I'll say that the harshness that I received in that school at that tender age, all the way to class 8, left quite a big scar in me, and it greatly affected my self-esteem. Being taken to boarding school felt as though my parents didn't want me around them, if you know what I mean. And it brought a gap between me and my parents. I grew apart from my parents from that tender age. And I tend to believe that the primary school years for any child are the years when you as a parent get to know your child. That's the time, those are the years when you as a parent should be in touch with your child, because when your child is around you, you will see their progress in growth. You'll get to know them. And most importantly, you become friends with your child. I actually remember one time when my parents came for visiting day, the very first visiting day in class 4, that was 1997. I hugged my dad, and that was the last time I gave my father a hug. And up to his deathbed, that was the only time I gave my father a hug. And there is nothing that pains me as that. Because previously I was very close to my father, very close to my father. So being taken to boarding school, it brought that rift. And again, because it was a girls only boarding school, there was a lot of teachings against boys. And to be honest, it took me quite a long while to be able to get along with boys, since I actually don't have brothers, blood brothers. So it took me quite a long while to be able to get along with boys. Besides that, it also affected my relationship with my mom. And here I want to challenge every mother out there who has a daughter. Do your best to be your daughter's friend in the best way you know how. Do your best to be your child's friend, because I can tell you for sure that in those years that I went to boarding school, I ended up being like a stranger to my mother. And that's not an interesting experience. It's not an interesting thing to go through. And as I'm sharing this, I'm very comfortable with being vulnerable, because with time, I've healed from it. And the interesting thing, I don't want to call it the sad thing. I don't want to call it a sad thing. I wish to call it an interesting thing, is that it's only after my dad's passing on, that was in 2016, that my mother and I started to bond. Quite unfortunate, yeah? Well, I really wouldn't want any daughter or mother to take so long to be friends. I wouldn't want that. So those were some of the experiences that I had in boarding school. But I can say but I can say that the positive thing about it all is that, first of all, it made me a hard worker. Like, we worked so hard in that school at that tender age. Forgive that thing that is going up and down here. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I pray and hope that you got something out of it. Until next time, goodbye.